Says, so our next guest we talked to about a week and a half ago. He's on his Crash and Burn tour, which is going to land tonight at Helium Comedy Club. And then there are shows Saturday and Sunday as well. And you can get your tickets at heliumcomedy.com to see the one and only Steve O.
Yeah.
Who is with us once again. Hey, man.
Yeah, dude. Always good to see you guys.
Nice to see you, as always. And, did you guys park in the parking lot? Did you see all the crap in the lot?
I sure did.
Wow.
I actually slept in your parking lot the last 2 nights in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So okay.
I got a killer Class C RV with a trailer. You know, so I'm like 50 feet long.
Yeah.
Not a lot of places to park in Philly.
Would you go to like Walmarts and stuff like that?
I mean, sure, KOA.
Yeah.
You were
He's wearing a KOA shirt, which I saw immediately. I love that.
Yeah, I'm just like such an RV guy. I love it. And
Really?
yeah, so I spend most of my time in RVs.
Is this your one with the studio?
They all have studios.
They all have studios.
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
3 podcast studios in RVs.
If you don't follow Steve, your podcast is great, and you
Thank
do,
you.
and it is you bring the podcast to the celebrity being interviewed, which is a cool concept. Yeah.
I got a message from a guy on Instagram. His name's Ryan Gregg, and his Instagram account is Bus Gone Wild, Steve. And he says, if you get a chance, show Steve-O a picture of my bus. It almost matches his RV perfectly, so I'll show it to you in a bit.
Cool.
But he says Steve-O's obsessed with RVs, and that you drive up and you'll do pictures with fans and listeners out on the road of your RV with their RV.
Sure,
Is that true?
whatever they want.
Are you like crazy? Because I follow a couple. I don't own an RV. We'll stay in one for the Camp Out for Hunger, this week-long charity event that we do every year. I think they're cool with the stuff that they're adding, the amenities. It's pretty cool. But I'm fascinated with the culture and the advances. And I was showing Nick this. It was $1.1 million RV, solar panels on the roof, like treads on the tires. Where this is if you go to Alaska and you want to drive into the woods.
Right.
Sure,
I saw that.
overlanding.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what my new one is.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a regular Class C, meaning that there's a bed over the cab, there's a bed in the back,
Right.
dinette, but I got it wrapped in camouflage, lifted,
Wow.
converted to a 4x4. So it's basically like an RV monster truck.
Wow. Have you
It's a lot of
taken
fun.
it off road, like
Yeah.
deep into the woods? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had to put it in 4x4 a whole lot, but it's nice to be able to.
So other than using it on tour, do you use it just to travel as
Sure.
well? Okay, so what I'm curious about the RV lifestyle, because I would need, when I see people that have the big badass RV or bus, whatever,
Yeah.
and behind it, they're like towing a Jeep too. I'm like, that's the idea right there. Because I'd need a chase vehicle. I need something that can get around, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And do you do that?
I got a fold-up bicycle in there.
All right.
Is it electric or just a regular bike?
It's a regular bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I love this idea. It's something I would love to do when I retire. But the RV can't be big. It's got to be like a Sprinter van or something like that. That I would feel more comfortable with.
You mean
gradually.
like van life? You know, you've seen those. They'll
Sure.
take that Mercedes van, and that's the popular one to convert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you do that?
I made a whole video called My RV Addiction. And it started out with this little Nissan NV2 where like the seat kind of folded down. You kind of got a little bed in there, but it was like the size of a Toyota Camry, basically.
Wow. Wow.
But a minivan. Then that didn't really work. So I graduated to like a Sprinter van. And that was great. But now I've it's kind of like a progressive addiction.
I take it, and I don't even do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Preston.
This is not an RV, and I've never been in one, but I'm somewhat fascinated by the Airstream trailers.
Right, okay.
Are you very familiar with them? Have you been in them?
I've become familiar with. I never did well with trailers,
Right.
Because as soon as you got to back up,
Yeah.
it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
These are very.
It's a skill. It's a skill for sure.
And some of these, Preston, if I'm correct, they also have like a very retro look to them, do they?
yeah,
not?
it's a cool style.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, but there's a real argument for doing that. I think that they call it a fifth wheel.
Yes.
It's a trailer.
Yep.
I was always too intimidated by the skill required to navigate a trailer.
Right.
But I've since kind of been forced to do that.
Are you good?
I'm getting pretty good at navigating with the trailer. It's still tough. I still don't like it. But being forced to do it, now I can picture it.
I'm surprised they don't have, because now all the cars have the sensor arrays with the parking assist. Is there nothing?
Right. Oh, man.
Is there nothing comparable in the world of RVs? to that?
I can't wait.
Yeah,
you know, say what you will about Elon Musk, but before he really kind of went sideways, I got a Tesla.
Yeah.
That's my regular car that I drive at home.
They're great cars.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like the iPhone of cars. It's so intuitive. It's just so incredible. And now it's got this full self-driving.
Yeah.
How is that? Have you done it a lot?
I mean, I resisted it every step of the way.
Yeah.
Even with it would just stay in the lane at first, and but I would keep getting in trouble. Like, oh, you got to touch the steering wheel. You know, you got to be looking forward. You know, and it would just get mad at me.
Yeah.
You know,
The car
How
wants
do you
to
know where I'm looking? I know exactly, because I have a Subaru, and the Subaru does that. It's like, keep your. How did this thing know?
Yeah. The car just kept getting mad at me, and I'm like, it's like, you're in trouble. You're not allowed to do this for the rest of the day. You know, like
reprimanding
and,
you.
By the way, it should be my car's mad at me tour. That should be the name of your tour. I love that.
Right. But now they've really graduated. I was, again, resistant to it. But I got a buddy who drives a Tesla, and I was like, dude, this full self-driving. You know, the guy's like, oh, dude, you're insane if you don't do it. It's $99 a month.
Yeah.
And I was like, oof. I mean, I was like, this guy, my buddy talked me into trying it. I figured I would just get in trouble with the car and cancel it and whatever, no big deal. But now, I'm telling you, you don't have to do it. And I made a video sitting Indian style on my driver's seat with my arms crossed.
Right.
And it makes every turn lane change on the highway.
Stop signs, the whole thing.
Everything.
I mean,
do you enjoy the zen of driving? Do you enjoy being?
I'm typically pretty bad at driving.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I'm not necessarily dangerous at driving. Like, I don't like speed.
Yeah.
You know, but I just I'm a. What do you call it? A scatterbrain.
Okay.
My head is too loud, so I'm constantly missing turns.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, there's a turn. I was supposed to go there, so I won't do anything dangerous to try to make a turn late.
Yeah.
I just blow past it. So you know.
No, I hear you. I
didn't know it was $100 a month additional to get that.
That's what. I mean, the premium.
If you want the stop at stop sign package, right?
Right. I mean, the craziest was when. Like making a left turn into like a super multi-lane road, and it's like, wow, it's gonna do this.
Yeah,
and
it does
enough, it does it.
What are the rules, like, if you've been drinking and then you want the Tesla to give you a ride home?
What a great question, huh? I wouldn't know.
You're sober. Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but I've wondered myself.
I was also wondering, can you, let's say you're at a restaurant or whatever, and your Tesla is in the parking lot, can you summon it?
Yes.
It'll come and pick you up.
Absolutely. I haven't tried summons, but it absolutely has it. And you know what? I don't even have to guess. I'm sure that I know what the question is to the drunk driving.
Yeah.
Or what the answer is to. I think that absolutely there's no way it would be legal to sit in the car drunk.
Yeah.
And
what if you were in the passenger seat, though?
Yeah.
I know, but you can't do that. The one thing it requires is that you sit in the driver's seat and be looking forward.
Okay.
Your head needs to be facing forward, and it will be able to tell if you're messing around with your phone.
Really?
So there you go. So this is kind of the brave new frontier, brave new world, where they're trying to figure out all the parameters of that. There was for a while. I had a level 3 autonomous Volvo, that great company, and again, a safe car. And so it was one of those, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this now. Driving along on the Schuylkill, I found it really was useful in start and stop starting stuff, where it's just the most boring kind of driving,
Sure.
and you can just kind of relax. But Volvo has been working on basically like hammock bed situations, because they do foresee my car's going to drive me to work this morning, and or I'm going to go on this road trip, and I'm going to fall asleep while it's driving me.
I cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to just get in the back seat and do my thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you did do tour buses for a while, right?
Sure, yeah, I still do.
Yeah.
I still do.
That's all that really is.
So let me ask you, obviously everyone's happy and thrilled that you're here back at the Helium. We talked about, when you come to a town, and the original plan and the Steve-O legend was that you were going to ratchet back on doing crazy stuff, and you realized, no, the multimedia approach you're taking on stage is now facilitated doing it in ways you had scarcely imagined. So when you pull into an area, you're always debuting new stuff. You go to one of your shows, you're going to see some new stuff you've never seen before. Are you coming to town early and collecting stuff, or is this stuff you're bringing with you?
No, it's pretty high level stuff. Like the bar for this content is absurdly high.
Right.
So
I can see that the mind reel, knowing what we know of you,
right.
The mind reels. And I'm moving to a point here. There's been, and I saw this pop up a couple of times, you at one point were full steam going to go ahead with a boob job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you found out just physically or whatever, it might be an issue or something. But I mean, if you're ready to go that far.
The bar is very high. Yeah, that factors into the show.
Yeah, okay.
That factors into the show. I had to go to I had to take some pretty drastic measures to correct course and make up for not ending up getting a boob job. Yeah. I mean, like to give you an idea of where the bar is at, on my last tour, I had a medical professional administer general anesthesia drugs into my vein while I was riding a bicycle.
Oh, my God.
While you're moving.
Yeah, riding a bicycle,
Wow.
getting general anesthesia drugs.
Can I give you something?
Sure.
Okay, this is something that we were going to do here.
Oh, yeah.
Because
we
got to the point where I was so good with the forklift, because we would do the Camp Out for Hunger, and I would move the pallets into the truck, and Preston will back this up. I was kind of surgical. I was able to stack them on top of each other. And I was contesting that you could
Put a thermometer.
A rectal thermometer, insert a rectal thermometer into someone.
Using a forklift. Yeah.
If you attach the thermometer to the end of the...
So funny, the last Jackass movie, there was a bow and arrow with an adult toy on the end of the arrow.
A dildo arrow, yeah.
And it was all lubricated and I spent hours, like when it was one of the new guys. We call him Zach Ass, like Zach Holmes, and he was just like on all fours.
Wow!
And I was back with the bow and arrow trying to shoot this adult toy right in the back door.
See, I thought you were going to get like an Olympic archer or someone who would have some skill at that. No.
Maybe, that's probably not a bad idea. That one remains as unfinished.
Elusive. So elusive. What remains in that category from all the adventurous stuff you've done? Because to do this, and we know doing 1/100th the level of what you do, but we know you put in the effort, you get the props together, you do the things, and it's not working. What is in that? We must return. We must do this list. What's at the top?
Without giving away like my whole show, my last tour, I would go around and tell everybody everything that was in the show. So when they finally went to the show, I had kind of spoiled it, and I'm not trying to do that again.
Yeah, you don't.
Well, then let me ask about the general anesthesia. Is that part of this show?
No, that was my last tour.
How did that end up?
That one, it required like 8 milligrams of this drug etomidate to like put somebody under for some kind of medical procedure.
Okay.
We had 20 milligrams. So like we were ready to absolutely knock me out. The thing is,
While you're moving.
right, when people get knocked out, that's the complicating factor. And we were doing this in a field with a medical professional in disguise.
Right,
you know,
right.
like
Okay,
it was highly illegal. And
What was the disguise?
they were wearing like a hazmat suit and everything.
That would draw attention, I think.
And then the
Yeah.
next one, where I did the epidural sprint.
I love it. You cracked it. You say it out loud, and you realize how ridiculous it
Yeah,
sounds.
I was like with the 4-inch needle in my spine,
In your
and
spine?
they injected the drug, and then whipped out the needle, and said go, and so it was, how far can I run? Like while
it takes effect.
it completely paralyzed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I that one what was. It was utterly absurd, man. Like everything is so utterly absurd at this point.
Well, so this is the level that people can expect when they're coming
Yeah,
to the show.
for sure.
And they're going to see this.
I know that I know acutely well that I have to deliver at that level, and like it's perhaps a little bit douchey, but I really like view all of the mega threats in the world, the debt, the environment, the AI, like you name it, nuclear war.
Yeah.
Like we live in a time of mega threats, and the world feels like it's crumbling around us.
Right.
People need to be distracted from their problems. They need entertainment that's really gonna work.
And you, unfortunately, are a victim of your own work.
Yeah, like I'm honored to make physical sacrifices to distract people from their problems. I consider myself officially to be a distraction therapist. That's my job.
I like that.
Listen, I like that a lot. Do you ever feel the weight of the body of work that you've done over the many years?
Absolutely.
Like, because I think of like, I've invoked the name of Lon Chaney Sr. Lon Chaney, we had a makeup artist in here, and Lon Chaney Sr. was one of the first to do, literally would physically bind himself and torture himself to play the hunter. And it's like, this was his thing, and he had to keep looking for ways to exceed it with pulling lips back to play, the Phantom of the Opera and all this crap. And so does that weigh heavy on you?
Yes. Absolutely. I'm like it's terrifying, like where the bar sits for my art. With that said, what's important is to just find a new and original, like to not make things feel tired. Like it's
right.
That's really the thing. And man, I'm just so thrilled with it was a daunting task. And I don't know even what another show would look like, but I just know that my head never stops.
Yeah.
Steve-O's going to be at Helium Comedy Club. Just want to reiterate that. You can get tickets at heliumcomedy.com. There's shows tonight and tomorrow, and then one on Sunday as well. 2 shows each night, but the Sunday is a one-off. I want to ask you something completely totally different.
Please do.
When you remember of course you remember, when you were protesting against, I think it was SeaWorld.
Yeah.
You climbed, what did you climb up?
It was like a 150-foot tall crane.
Okay, it was a crane.
Yeah,
and
a construction site.
Did you have that crane there for that purpose, or did you just find a crane?
Oh yeah, no, like it's so. I to this day I get people saying like, "Hey man, that was so awesome. That you stood up and protested SeaWorld. What you do for animals is so meaningful." And like in the case of that one. And I've kind of changed my approach to animal activism, like to be more just about positive reinforcement than shaming and anger,
Right.
But at the time, what really motivated that thing is that when my buddies and I had just gotten our first drone. So it's like, okay, now we've got a drone. It can film super high in the air. In order to really make a drone, I don't know, like pertinent, I needed to find a way to get myself way up high in the air.
Okay.
So I'm looking up in the air and I see like a 150-foot tall crane. I'm like, I got to be up there to get a cool drone shot. So I'm like, all right,
15 stories up.
So I'm like, that's only really half of an idea,
And you had a banner with you, didn't you?
Not a banner. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get an inflatable killer whale. I'm going to write SeaWorld sucks on it. I'm going to bring it up on top of a big old crane with a backpack full of fireworks in there. And we're gonna fly the drone so that we have this magnificent shot 150 feet in the air with my inflatable whale where I'm getting this message out there. At the end of the day, I was protesting SeaWorld on a random crane nowhere near SeaWorld. People see this figure traversing this crane. They're like, oh, what's this? Got a backpack on? Who knows if it's some kind of terrorist activity, whatever. Who knows if it's some suicide jumper? And as I'm up there looking down, there's it's just a fire truck shows up, a cop shows, and then by the time we're done, there was some 70 firefighters were involved. I don't know why the response was quite as drastic as it was. There was really no need for all of that. But in hindsight, it was it was the most pure attention whoring behavior,
it was more self-serving than
self-serving.
It was self-serving attention whoring, and sure, I slapped onto it some kind of a cause to try to justify.
You just wanted to play with your drone.
I wanted to play with the drone. I wanted to get a lot of attention. I wanted to make some news, and I figured out a way to make a message with it. I don't know if that's philanthropic or what. I kind of don't feel like it really was. Maybe, but now on the flip side, it was within the next couple of weeks that some meaningful legislation actually went through to ban the breeding of orcas in captivity.
Okay.
And that was meaningful. I don't know if I contributed to that.
You probably did. You probably did.
And I did believe. I do believe in it. But again, I'm not out here to pat myself on the back for that one. It was a disaster, and I wasted the city resource. I wasted the time of first responders, and I'm pretty ashamed of that.
It's a very wise thing to be able to observe that people during their day who rescue people could have been in danger in some way. I mean, obviously you're a professional in what you do, but you have to acknowledge it.
We live and we learn. Now I'm mindful about not being a dick and wasting service.
So what I was going to ask you, how long were you up there, by the way? It was for a good stretch.
Far too long. Far too long. I mean, I was probably up there for
12 hours?
No 12 hours.
Okay.
No 12 hours. I was up there for an hour or two.
Oh, okay.
But I was the cops and firefighters started showing up pretty.
Right.
What was the fine? You got it was reduced to a fine.
It ended up being rather expensive. Yeah. I remember Knoxville. Calling me up the next day, say, "Wow, man, this one's gonna hurt your bank account, buddy."
I want to expand on what you said. I was reading about taking that approach of not being so in the face, and I came to that determination a while ago. And I had different things in my life that. You start to realize, the concept of bridge building and commonality has gone out the window. I'm not going to look to the left and right, and this person's my enemy, this person's my enemy. I prefer to not be a player in someone else's narrative that gets us all at each other's throats, and look for more to try to make a case for why someone might want to do what you want to do instead of saying, you piece of ass. It's a good realization to come to, and the way you were very eloquent about your arrival at that, and I think people can benefit from knowing that's actually in the long run going to be the more productive way to get things done.
Thank you. I feel strongly about that. And now I've moved to Tennessee.
Yeah.
I've got this sprawling 44-acre property.
Nice.
And it's already a bona fide official 501c3 nonprofit animal sanctuary.
Nice. You know, it's that. Let me ask you this too.
Yeah.
Pertaining to that land, is it true you found like a cemetery on your property?
Wow, I didn't know that information was out there. There is absolutely some Civil War burial sites.
Wow.
On my property, in my backyard.
What's the legality of that? What are you obliged to do anything? Could you?
Ooh, I don't know about any legality involved in that. I know that for despite efforts to make out what is engraved on these
Tombstones?
Markers?
Tombstones,
Yeah.
Tombstones. They're so old you can't tell what anything says on there.
Right.
But yeah,
that's pretty wild.
Now I've heard that if you bury a family member on your land, that you're like out of paying property taxes or something.
Really?
That's weird.
Well, I don't know if that's a Tennessee thing or if that's far and wide.
Well, but isn't that why Trump buried his wife at the
golf course?
The golf course?
Perhaps.
A guy thought that there were tax
I genuinely believe there's tax incentives
to
burying a family member on your land. I think that
so that's why the mob does that.
I think knowing my dad.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised he hasn't brought it up. Son.
I was wondering if you would be able to, if curiosity got the better of you, exhume and do genetic testing,
and they can do
find
that.
out who those people were, or who their relatives are.
That seems a little bit on the
a little poltergeisty.
I mean, not poltergeist. It just seems in bad taste, maybe disrespectful.
Right. How many are on your?
I'm not even sure, and I've not personally seen them myself. It's a heavily wooded area where these
44 acres is a lot.
Look, I wish you could say I haven't been to that part of my property yet.
But I feel compelled to say this too. Like, out of anything that makes no sense to me, burial. Burial. You know the saying, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind.
Yeah.
Burying people makes the whole world a cemetery.
Yeah. I'm doing the cremation route.
I want to be buried at sea. I just want my body dropped off in the ocean somewhere and let the sharks eat it or whatever.
For sure.
I'm looking at your Instagram account, Steve, and I wanted to ask you about the balance between posting stuff online so that gets attention and gets people to reminds them of who you are, versus bringing stuff up at a live show, versus posting stuff on YouTube or whatever. Like, creating content serves a purpose, right?
Sure.
Where do you draw the line of like, all right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it for Instagram or a YouTube channel or whatever, or I'm going to save that for the show?
It's a great question. It all kind of sorts itself out because all of the social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, are so uptight with their community guidelines.
Yeah.
That when I started doing the multimedia comedy, it really was an exercise in just lashing out. I was so fed up with getting my content taken down. I'm in trouble. I got to be careful. I can't go. It's like, you know what? I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to break every rule. I'm going to have complete disregard for the law. I'm going to film with no insurance. Screw it. Nobody can tell me what to do. And so that's what makes my shows so fun, is that it's like an extra naughty Jackass movie meets stand-up comedy show.
It's guerrilla style, and it's in the best ways. But you just said something that made me think. You built an entire career on stuff that violates every rule on social media. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's all. That's why you don't see, and I assume maybe copyright. You don't see a lot of the stuff that you do popping up because people can cop your stuff off YouTube or whatever and repost it, but you don't see it because it violates their guidelines.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot you can get away with at the level that I do stuff these days. I mean, like I said, like they're having general anesthesia drugs administered like in a field, in a big grass field by a doctor. Like that's like, it's so illegal.
Is it though, to know that you at this point in your career are still edgy enough to throw it out of whack, that you're still unacceptable?
Oh, I mean, not even still. I just think that that's just the nature of the beast. And I don't like, I want to be careful too when I say like totally illegal. Like, I feel pretty strongly that, like, I break rules, but I kind of do so. Like
You're not harming anybody but yourself.
yeah,
It's you.
I pick my battles.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I feel strongly. If you're gonna break a rule, then be cognizant of the consequences and willing to pay them.
Sure.
Like I don't like having my dog on a leash.
Right.
Because every trail, dogs must be on leash, and I always consciously say, I am prepared to pay whatever the fine is for my dog not being on a leash. And I'm such a jerk because my dog will always take off, and I'll have to resort to the GPS caller to find where she is.
When you do, obviously this is your buddy on the road. We talked about this last time. Moonpie.
Yeah, she's walking around our studio right now. by
And
the
she's
way.
a
Crashed out on
a chair.
sweet.
Super
She
sweet.
climbed up in the chair?
Yeah.
I love that.
But you know how we were talking about that bond when you're spending that much
for sure.
time. I mean, when you go to towns, you get to take in the park system and get out?
Oh man, there's an app on my phone called All Trails.
Yes,
Yeah.
I use it all the time.
Dude, it's incredible. It's difficult to go anywhere in this country and not have absolutely magnificent, beautiful nature trails available to you.
You got
What's great about All Trails too is that it's current, right? So we had a bunch of storms that came through here last night, and if trails are closed because of storms last night, people will post and share about it. So if you're going to a new place or coming to a town and you haven't been there yet, you can go to All Trails and see, all right, I can't do this one today because of the storms that happened last night. There's a tree going over the Schuylkill River Trail or whatever.
I couldn't believe it when I pulled the RV in here last night because the night before it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And then I pulled in last night. I'm like, what happened in here?
We were talking earlier about it because we had the forecast was going to be dicey, and then it skipped up sort of exponentially, and it made me wonder. And we were talking about those moments, where. I relate a story where, I was in college and I love lightning storms. I love, the explosions and the thunder and everything. It's very cool and very universal horror movie. And then there was one time I remember I was by myself in the house. I'm like, holy crap, I better get down to the basement. I wonder, with all the times you've sort of danced on the edge of potential calamity, what is the one thing that shoots right to your brain when you think about something where you thought, okay, I'm checking out right now. Besides.
Oh, you mean like the quintessential "I'm not okay" moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some of those.
Do you have fears?
Sure, man.
I mean, like, I'm afraid of lightning. I'm afraid of sharks.
Well, as part of our 12-step inventory, like we gotta make an inventory of our fears.
Yeah.
Which is really when the rubber meets the road, thing. But I think that my fears are typical of humans in general. We typically fear losing what we have.
Yeah.
/ not getting what we want. And, being uncomfortable.
I can't imagine that falls in your parameter, that feeling uncomfortable. You that's what you relish in.
It's not that bad at all, whatever. I don't even have a particularly impressive pain threshold.
Right.
Yeah.
I just have an overdeveloped need for attention. I crave attention more than comfort. It's literally that simple.
It offsets it. It offsets it.
I'm not even a thrill seeker.
Wow.
No, I'm not a thrill seeker. I'm an attention whore.
That is a melon twister for people who have followed you for years to not think that you're. I think you'd be the absolute quintessence of a thrill seeker.
I'm scared of roller coasters. You gotta be kidding! I'm terrified of roller coasters. I hate them.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
What about heights?
I mean,
You're on a crane 15 stories up.
I respect heights.
Okay.
I've like, I make no sense, man. And you know what? I've rethought my fear of roller coasters because I've had to get really good at skydiving for like just one high level stunt. And now like I'm really pretty like accustomed to just exiting an airplane like by myself with a parachute on my back.
Dude, I saw a couple of weeks ago, I didn't know that this exists, but people, like wingsuits, right?
Yeah.
People will do literally flying carpets. They will base jump on a carpet.
Yeah.
Would you do something like that?
I don't know that they're doing it. I think it was like one. I think it was like the one guy did it.
Yeah.
Well,
the one I saw is he broke the world record for the longest thing. So clearly there had.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Would you wingsuit?
I have done what's called wingsuit rodeo, where I ride the wingsuiter.
Okay.
That's great.
I'm at this point. I've got 55 skydives.
Nice.
So do you see things like for the world of skydiving? My brother-in-law has done like 1,100 of them, and I think you're running down the clock in that particular sport. There, and I used to do a bit in my stand-up, like, if you play tennis, you forget your racket, you go home and get it. It's a completely different dynamic with this. So, do you feel the clock is ticking each time?
Help me understand what you mean by running down the clock.
The odds
Eventually.
against encountering something.
There's going to be an accident.
Yeah.
If you do it
Okay.
enough times. Odds-wise.
Odds-wise, it's so much more dangerous to drive the car to the skydiving place.
Yeah.
That's how you frame it.
Even though, God, and this is a tough one. I just went to a new drop zone where I live in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And the actual business that I was at, I jumped 3 times in one day. My jumps 53, 54, and 55.
Wow.
All back to back on one day at this place, like within a week or 10 days of the actual same location that we were at being all over the news with the plane crash they had there. Did you see that on TMZ?
They survived, right?
Yeah, everybody survived, but I think some people were like in the critical condition. I don't like, and I think that's the plane I was on like a week.
Wow.
Like maybe 10 days prior.
We sent our intern out to do skydiving and to pee while he was midair.
Right.
But then he got pee shy and he wasn't able to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you know what I did for my last tour was, this was like totally different. This was my first skydive number 1, the tandem. I was absolutely naked with another man strapped to my back, like furiously servicing myself.
Oh my God.
Simultaneously exited the airplane as I completed.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah,
There's more precision than cutting a diamond.
It was at that time.
Yeah.
It was the most challenging, complicated stunt I'd ever
At
put
that
together.
time.
At that time.
Yeah.
Where did that on the drawing board? Where did that stunt start?
I'll tell you, it was. It came right back to my irrational fear of roller coasters, not liking the sensation of falling.
Wow.
Like the idea of skydiving. If it ever came up, I was like, nope. Skydiving, get out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Like, everybody does. Grandmas do that. Like, it can be, if I were going to go skydiving, this was my built-in excuse, my built-in mechanism to make sure that I would never, ever have to skydive. I said, for me to go skydiving, man, I would have to be butt naked, whether this and that, yeah.
And you did it. God.
And then it just got to a point where the bar was at that level. I was like, okay, so, when I went about putting together my last tour, like there were like a handful of those ideas.
Right. No. I love that though. That self-checking mechanism. That's how I'm going to make sure I never do it.
Oh my God. That's okay. We're going to end the interview now. That's
So suffice it to say, I understand where the bar is at, what my responsibility is, and I'm not going to waste anybody's time at the Helium
Let me tell you, the
Comedy
last
Club.
time you were through town, and then obviously it's evolved even more. But people were contacting us after the show, and they just loved it.
Yeah.
Well, that means the
because
world to me.
you don't see stuff like that. This isn't the norm. This is something where you're gonna paralyze yourself to make people laugh. So yeah, it's great.
I love it. I love you guys. I love Philly.
Yeah.
You know, I'm and man, it's like I really mean it. It's a scary time. Like it feels different. Like right now. I mean, I think that every generation has always felt like, oh, you know, like this is it. But you know.
Yeah.
You need a distraction.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you deserve this. Go see Steve-O. So there's 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow, 7 to 9:30, and then there's a 6 o'clock show on Sunday, and you can get those tickets at heliumcomedy.com. My friend, it is wonderful to see you.
Hey, man, always.
Thanks for being here.
I appreciate you guys so much, and I'm glad that the building survived.
Yeah, just barely.
It really was put to the test, but it still
All
stands.
right, thanks, man. We love you.
man.
Steve-O, guys. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back. You stay with us.